So I would definitely say more support and resources are needed for students that want to attend or are actually attending HBCUs. The HBCU community, for some reason, has just been put to the side. You know, students don't have access to the dorms or resources, but HBCUs, we definitely need to have a better focus and more resources for those students.
Well, I would like to see more full-time scholarships. This idea, I benefited from full-time scholarship as an undergraduate student. I did not have to work. So I was able to focus my time fully on learning. And the same thing with my children. I refused to allow my children to work, all of them while studying in America here. They had no scholarship, so I had to use my own resources to pay their way through college. I didn't want them to work. And because of that, they devoted their time fully to studying. And that's why they stayed out of trouble. And that's why they completed their courses on time and graduated and are doing good paying jobs today. They didn't have to spend their time working and schooling. So it's very important. I think America is rich enough to afford full-time scholarships for students. You know, even poor as Nigeria was, when I finished high school, I had 3 scholarships, full-time scholarships. Because, you know, once you're intelligent, once you're intelligent, you can have opportunities for scholarships. You should not have to work and study at the same time. You know, I believe that strongly. Secondly, for the black population, students, I think internship opportunities should be broadened. You know, paid internships, not just internship. Paid internships are very important for minority students so that they can have industrial experience, they can see, you know, mentors, they can find mentors, they can look onto, you know, role models. So paid internships, scholarships, critical for the black community.
Mental health is my thing, so I think that, and knowing that I had self-esteem issues coming out of the comfort into my home, going into the academic world, and not feeling like I belong, I love your mentorship ideals and making sure that they know that there are people there they can count on and talk to help them walk through these issues. And they are unique issues, like my colleague mentioned earlier, like you can't get to school if you don't have transportation. You can't study if you're hungry, you know, and that leads to depression, anxiety, and unfortunately suicide is really high among our young black people. So they need hope, and I think education is the ticket to a better way of life.
More career fairs and more focus on STEM programs, especially with students who are of color who want to get into the programs, like to be an engineer or to be a computer technologist or programmer. So the focus should really be on, you know, helping those STEM programs with children of color.
And looking at the whole system and how to navigate the system, I think that's very difficult for a lot of our students. We use a lot of words in terms of art, right, and jargon that students may not understand, so we can be clear about the processes. Who do I go to register for classes? What does that even mean, right? How do I make sense of the days and times of my classes and how to navigate all of that? How do I pay for it? You know, how do I get textbooks? All of those things. The information's out there, but I think a lot of times the wording and the way it's presented is just very difficult for students, especially students who don't have any experience or support to figure that out. So getting rid of some of those barriers, I think, is just helpful, right? Because if it's frustrating from the beginning, you're not going to make it to the end if you don't keep working through.
Also, providing some of those out of the classroom needs that a lot of black students have to help them to be able to get to college and be successful. So providing transportation for those students. Let's provide busing or vans to go into the neighborhoods the black communities to pick up the students for school. A lot of them don't have money for food, you know, with the lunch card for our cafeteria so that they can have food when they're on campus. You know, let's provide them with, you know, funds to get their books, pay for their books. Many of students of color, they take classes, but then they can't afford to buy the books. So they're, you know, failing in their classes because of that. So all of those things that's taking place outside the classrooms that are barriers for our students of color, we need to make sure we really start addressing that and not just having the resources posted up on the website, right? Let's actually take those resources and show those resources to the student. Let's actually drive to the communities, the urban communities. Let's talk to students. You know, let's find out who the students are who are getting ready to graduate high school in the urban communities. Let's start looking at some data and saying how many students of color in the inner cities are we going to bring to our college here at PVCC this semester. You know, we look at a lot of enrollment data, but what type of data do we look at when it comes to black students and how we're going to help them to get here? Not just how we're going to help them once they get here, but how we're going to actually go out into the real world and grab those students and bring them here and give them all the resources and tools they need to be successful.
Good point.
I think we can have something like summer program. For instance, we currently have a Verizon-sponsored summer program for young men of color. You know, unfortunately, we don't have so many young men of color in the program here at PVCC. But there are programs we can have. It's a summer program whereby we have young men of color from area middle schools. We bring them during the summer, and during the course of once in every month, you know, they come to the college here. They are exposed to the college environment, and hopefully, by the time they leave middle school and high school, they'll want to enroll in the college. So we need to have more of these summer programs for our students, especially at the high school, middle school level, so that by the time they leave, they want to come to college and not just want to go and work. And let's teach our children the benefits of having an education, the higher education, the economics of higher education, that by adding 1 year, having a degree, you are likely to improve your standard of living far, far more than, that's what research has shown. That those with the first degree, they have higher income than those with just a high school diploma, So we have to make that known to our children. It's very important.
I also believe, too, when we start programs, we really have to not just start programs to say we have a program, but we have to invest in them. I was the men's advisor for the men's program, here at PVCC for quite some time, and the program did well, and our students in our program did well for the men's and the women's rising. But I think that we could have did a better job at providing more resources for those programs, for the students involved in those programs, and really doing more to help them out. So just really investing in those programs that we do decide to offer.